Welcome back, student Form 2. I just want us to have a revision, revision based on Form 1. Otherwise, I know there is no one who can say that he is good towards the revision, and revision is always good after having in mind that we have covered a lot in terms of what? In terms of syllabus or syllabus coverage. So I just want us to go to the revision as far as the lesson is concerned. So revision is going to help us cover even the one that maybe we might have known, but we forgot. So I just want us to look at Form 1, a certain topic here in Form 1 known as the society, the Kenyan society. When we talk about Kenyan society here, it is pre-colonial period. Pre means before the whites coming to Kenya and colonized Kenya. So there are some of the communities that lived in Kenya before the whites coming and colonizing Kenya. But then before these people coming to the country Kenya, there were then people who lived in this country, and they were known as inhabitants. They are the early inhabitants, those people that were found here before the coming of the trade routes. And we talk about these early inhabitants. Example, in Kenya we have Khoisan. I thought, and I know that maybe you've ever heard the word Khoisan, maybe in primary level. So here they were the early inhabitants, the first people to stay, to live in the country Kenya, before the coming of Bantus, Kushites, and Nilotes. So I just wanted to take that in consideration. And when you talk about the first community that came to Kenya, that is Kushites, we have two groups of Kushites. We have the southern Kushites, we also have the northern, eastern Kushites. Eastern Kushites are like Somali, Rendile, Oromo, Somali, Rendile, Oromo, Gabra, and etc. That is southern, that is eastern Kushite. Then southern we have Sani or Jahal. So that's just Kushite. Then there are some of the reasons that make these people become the country Kenya. That's the next area that a student should always know as far as the topic is concerned. After that, that is the first question we want to talk about. But then when you talk about the example of those communities, I think I've talked about. Then let's look at, give 5 reasons which led to the migration of the Kushites into Kenya before 1800. Before 1800. Just want to ask you as a student, when did Kenya colonize? When did the whites colonize Kenya? You can ask that question, or you can ask yourself that question. But then before 1800, that means that Kenya was not colonized by the whites. Then what are the reasons that made the Kushites? We have talked about the Kushites. And when we talk about Kushites, we have part of the Kushites, a section of Kushites that came from Ethiopian land, and there's our other section that came from the Somalia as a country. And let's look at the reason that might have led to their reason coming to the country, Kenya. And I just want you to know that everybody, as far as this community are concerned, everybody came to this land. Everybody came into this country. So, as we are learning, I just want us to discover some of the preferable reasons. We are not saying or actualizing that truly that was the reason, but we are trying to talk about the preferable reasons that could have made these people to move, leave their original homeland, and come to Kenya. Then, when you talk about, before we move any further, when you talk about the Bantus, we have different examples. Bantus, we have the southern Bantus, we have the western Bantus, where we have the Aba family, Abagudi, Abagusi, Abasupa. Then we also have eastern, where we have the Highland what? We have the Highland coastal. So coastal, we have the Pokomo, Mijikenda, Taita. That's coastal Bantu. Then Highland, we have the Ameru, Akikuyu, Aembu, Taraka, Aembu, yes, Ameru. So those are the Highland. Akamba also, those are the Highland Bantus. Then after that, we also have Nilotes. We have got the River Lake Nilotes, that is the Luo and the Luo Basuma. Those are examples of the communities of the River Lake Nilotes. You also have island idols which come from the Kipsigis community, Kalenjin community. That is Nandi, Kipsigis, Keio, Marakwet, yes, Sabot, and etc. Then you also have plain idols, those that are living within the plain. They were pastoralists, some of them. So we have Masai, we have Samburu, we have Teso, we have Masai, Turkana also. Those are the plain idols. So that's just a brief of what you're supposed to know and what you are not supposed to get confused, or what you are supposed to think about as far as Form 1 content is concerned. So these things are being said even as far as class that you are in, that is Form 2, all questions like this will always come. Let's look at this question in great detail. And feel welcome, let's learn. Let's learn, because learning is what counts on us. Learning is what make or bring values within you. Not just sit without doing anything. Get engaged. Ensure that you build up your mind. Ensure that you build up your mental development each and every day. So I think, and I know that you have read this question severally on the screen. Let's look at the choices. Need for pasture for their animals. These people are pastoralists, meaning they were moving from one place to another with their what? With their cattle. Pasture was the food and the water. They used to move from one place to another, looking for water and the pasture for their animals. Even themselves, they needed water, they needed food. So that was another reason, because the place where they were, maybe in Somalia, they were not having enough of that, therefore they had to move to another area. Then population pressure. Wherever they are regional owner or the graduate, their regional owner was what? Was having very many population. There was a high population. Therefore they had to escape, at least to leave for some section of people so that they can go and find a new place where they can be free and etc. You see, so that was another reason. The next external attack. There were some attacks that were being attacked by maybe the neighbors or the neighboring kingdoms in the areas where they were. Then therefore they found themselves what? They found themselves living, because no one can condone staying in a certain place where they are being killed by the unknown or by the people from another kingdom, and they just keep quiet. So they had to escape and leave, go to another place where there was peace. The next outbreak of diseases such as malaria, sleeping sicknesses, tropical diseases in short. So these tropical diseases were a big threat to most of these early society or early communities. So this is one of the values that made these people live where they were, their original homeland, moving to what? Moving to the country, Kenya. Then the next reason, family and the clan codes. When we talk about family and clan codes, these are just conflicts within war. The family can always have a war, maybe based on the land, based on maybe the water, based on any other thing. So because of these fights within the family, they had to move. Some of them had to move, leaving some certain or subsection of family, then going to Kenya. Then the next escape from drought and famine. Drought is a state where there's no food, the water is not there, the land is dry, and people starving and dying. So that was another situation that made these people to move from their original homeland, come to Kenya. Then adventure. This is a spirit. Forgive my body, is supposed to be added a spirit of adventure. It is just a desire to go to a new place and discover and find something favorable about that place, and maybe you stay there. To some extent, it was connected to the vision that comes from the ancestors. They could say that the ancestors saying them to go to maybe this land and maybe the other land. So we find that because of that, they just always had that spirit of adventure. In a modern language, we call it exploration. That spirit to explore. That is a modern or a modernized language. So they wanted to adventure, find an idea or knowledge about the new place and maybe stay there. Then the next, search for fertile land. Some of them were agriculturists, and therefore agriculture could not do well in a land which was unproductive. So they were moving in search for a better land. They were moving until they reach a land which would support their growing of crops. That's another reason. Then, after having the reason that made the ships move from their original homeland, let's look at or describe the economic factors or economic activities of the Kushite in the pre-colonial period before Kenya being colonized by the what? By the white from the Britain. How did they used to live? How were they striving to earn a living or to eat? That is what economic activities is concerned. And when I told to describe, you are just giving it a simple manner in a statement form and you number. So let's go to number. If you can't number, then write it in a paragraph form. But then your answer should be complete the way I'm going to give them to you. When you're giving a point, please ensure that you give a complete by accompanying example with it. Just by seeing an example, I want you to get it not only by me saying it, but also by seeing it through the screen. So the Kushites practice pastoralis. That's the point. We are moving with cattle from one place to another. So that's the meaning of pastoralis or pastoralism. Pastoralis is the person doing that. Then after giving that point, then give us more about it to make that point complete. They kept cattle, goats, camels, and also donkeys. So you can see that point is complete. It's a description. They have described. Then the next, some of the Kushites who live in the oases and along the river valleys practice this subsistence work, agriculture. When you talk about oases, this was only a place in the desert or in a dry place where water could be found. In the desert, there are places where there are only places in the desert where water could be found. Those places are known as oases. Plural is oasis. So these places, or you have ever heard people saying oasis of hope. The only place where there is no hope, the only place where there is hope in the desert, the only place where there is water. I hope water is hope in the desert. The desert is very dry, and there is always cases of people getting drained because of lack of water. So the only place where there is hope, the only place where there is water in the desert is known as oasis. So people who live in such areas, they practice subsistence agriculture. Subsistence means production or agriculture or farming for their own consumption. Don't grow excess, but only for what you are supposed to eat by the household. Understand? So that is what subsistence is. In another term, it's known as direct production. It is direct production. They produce the crops based on their own consumption. Then the next thing, they grew grain crops, vegetables, dates, and also bananas. That's an explanation of agriculture. Then the next, they practice iron smelting. When we talk about iron smelting, they made iron such as sword. That's just a method of mining after obtaining the material, or that is the minerals. They could smelt it by using fire to make it the desired items: sword, knife, bangles, and also arrow heads. These are the items that you could make using the iron after smelting it. Smelting is just using fire to come up with a shape, a desirable shape. That is an industry, the localized industry that was used long time for the ancient. Then the next, the next one, sorry about that. Then the next one, they hunted wild game. They hunted wild game. Then gathered roots and also vegetables and also trees. They were hunters of the wild game in the country, some of them. Then they engaged in craft industry. Craft is coming up with the production of leather items such as handbags, belts, clothing, and etc. Then after that, some of the Kushites who lived near the rivers, of course, like River Tana. We have those Kushites that are living in River Tana life, such as Oromo. So along the Indian Ocean also practice the first draft and also hook and line. This is just fishing. They were fishing. And You have seen example of such within the coast, that's the Oromo. Then they also traded with their neighbors, such as the Samburu and Kokomo. Samburu is an example of a plain island. Then Kokomo is an example of a coastal bantus. So they traded with them. Kokomo could give them what they have, while they could give the Kokomo what they give them what they don't have. And also the same as Samburu. So that's all about the economic activities of the what? Of the Kushans. Then the next question I want us to talk about is state 5 results of the settlement of Kikuyu in the Mount Kenya region. Kikuyu is the island Bantus. I've said that. The highland Bantus, one of them is Kikuyu, then we also have Ameru, Kamba, etc. Ayembu, Daraka, etc. So, state 5 results. After knowing the reason that made these people to move from one place to another. Okay, that is based on the question. Let's now look at the Kikuyu. And most of the reason also you'll find out they're the same. But then let's look at the results. After these people moving to Kenya as a Kikuyu people, what were the results? What were the impacts? What were the effects on the people of Kenya or those people that are found within? The effect or the impact could be positive or negative. So sometimes questions can be very specific by asking you to only talk about the positive or negative. You see, but you find that most of them are. Let me not just be very detailed, but let me just leave that. So one of the reasons you find that the settlement of Agikuyu in the Mount Kenya region led to the intermarriages within their neighbors, Lydia, Kamba, and Masai. These people coming to the Mount Kenya region within central part of Kenya, they found themselves marrying or intermarrying or getting engaged with their Kamba and the Masai. And that is justified. There are families that are married Masai, there are families of Agikuyu that have been married by the Kamba, and etc. That is one of the impacts, and I think that is positive. So the next, it brought the expansion of the trade in the region. They could trade with each other. It brought expansion of trade among them. Then the next, some communities were displaced by the Kikuyu. There are communities that were displaced by the Kikuyu in that place. Example is Masai. So that, to some extent, might be a negative on the part of those communities that were displaced. Then the next one, some communities were assimilated by the Kikuyu. It gave increase in their population. So there are some communities in Kenya that were there, but then they were replaced by the major communities that came to where they were. And an example is known as the Ogiek. Ogiek was a place, Ogiek was the communities that were there, but then after the Kikuyu occupied that land, then they were assimilated. They emerged inside the what? Then the next, promoted cultural interactions. Culture. People's culture interactions. They interacted toward their cultures. And we talk about that between their communities. For example, dressing ceremonies. So they are mode of dressings. They interchange. If a Kikuyu and Masai, Kamba, they interchange these cultures. And it made it interesting. Then the next one, it promoted what? It promoted conflicts in the regions over land, grazing areas, and cattle. So because these people, some of them were cattle keepers and some of them were livestock keepers. So these people are in need of grazing land and areas for cattle. So they find themselves, Masai, they find themselves not getting along because the land which was there was not enough for all of them. So this marks the end of our revision today, and I would encourage you to get engaged. I feel like it's good for us to plan this also with a Zoom, whereby we can have maybe 2 or 1 in a week, so that we can maybe tackle some of the questions or tackle something that maybe we are not getting along with. But otherwise, I wish you well, and I encourage you to continue working hard at home, continue reading, continue taking your time with your books. It is not time, or right now it's not a time so that you put your books down. When you put your books down, then that moment will judge you ahead. So I just wish you well, and I just encourage you. I'm just encouraging you to continue working hard and all shall be well. Otherwise, be blessed. Thank you.